Hello, this is Christian. Welcome to episode 6 of our application. And this time we're going to do the delete for our AJAX call. So let's go and see how this is done. Now, previously we did the get, so we were able to get all the books and also a single book by going to the get button here. If you just click go, you get all the books. And if you just go and put a single record, you get that book with the matching ID. Okay. If you get a ID of 5 which doesn't exist, you get nothing back. So this is actually it should be shown here. You would probably say like not record not found, but this is another area that you can fix. Okay, but for now we're gonna do the delete here. So delete will be very similar to the get. It's using the same form. So if you don't put any ID here, that means you can delete all of it. If you put a single ID here, you're gonna find the matching ID. You will delete that ID here. Okay, so let's go and see how this is done. The code. This is our delete here. All right, so let's see. Okay, it's the delete button right here. So the delete and the get shares the same. They share the same code, right? So I basically copy this whole thing for the get and just paste it right down here for my delete, right in here. Okay, I do the delete process. When a delete button's clicked, it's gonna call here instead. So here the ID will be the same, and then the open here I'm gonna call a delete instead of a get. Okay, this is the request type you send over. These are the HTTP verbs. The get, put, post, delete. This is one of them. Okay, so you open with a delete connection type, going to this URL. And we're going to find the ID here if there is any ID. If it's empty, then we're going to delete everything, right? Because the string URL will be empty like that. Okay. So, and then we're going to send it off. We're not sending any data, and then we check for the status, and then finally everything comes back. Meaning we got the data back. And since the data coming back is not really a JSON object, so really I probably shouldn't do that here, right? You should probably do it in the books section. Maybe that's better because it's not a JSON data. But anyways, we'll just see. Here I'm going to put a delete, and yeah, I think that should be fine though, because we send as a JSON text. So we put delete here, and we process the result. So you can see everything is the same. We don't really change much. All I did was just basically change this and that, and that's it. Okay, so let's see if this is correct. Because when I process the data, I go down to the processing part. It's gonna get a delete, and then it's gonna put that message, whatever it is, to the form. Okay, the result. So let's go and check it out. Here we go. Make sure I get all the information first. I get my books here. Now I'm going to go and delete one book, delete book number 1. And it does say record deleted. All right, this is the message is sent back from the server, not the one in the front end, okay? If I go back and look at it again, you see that the first ID was removed, all right? Let's delete the third one. If I do from here, this doesn't work yet because we have not implemented this functionality yet. Remember, this is a prepare delete. That is a different web method to do it, but we'll fix that in a minute. But at least we know that it's working. So if I go and delete again, if I don't put any ID here though, well, let's just put like 1, 2, 3, and it should say no record found, right? So it works nice. Just making sure the data is still there. Yep. So let's go delete everything. You leave it blank space. It will say all records deleted. If you go and look at it, and then there's no more books information here. Okay. So because we're running locally on our server, while the server is running, now you cannot reset this book back, right? Unless you add new data or things like that. To get to work, you have to go here, and as you can see, it's empty now. It's working beautifully. You have to reset the server to make this work. So let's go back and turn that back off again. Control J and Control C to cancel it, and then run it again. Okay, so it resets the server. That's only time that you want to run no monitor. But now all the data should be back again, and good. All right, so let's do one thing to refactor our code because it's repeating. So back up here, when we send off the information here, right? This piece and up APIs up there is exactly the same. We just have the difference between, of the get and the delete, that's all. So in this scenario, we're going to put this into a function, all right? So I'm going to put this whole block here into a function, or you could put, let's see, you can put this part here for the AJAX call. This part, let me take this out and put it to a function, and we'll put it right up here for now. I'll just say process AJAX call. Okay, so we'll put here function call process AJAX, and then we're going to pass in something there to the function, but inside we're going to get that in here. So we'll need to get a get, so I need the type, right? I need an ID, so we put here the ID field. And what else? Well, if you might send some data in here, so I'm going to put here the third one for a data, whatever that data is, we do a post and a put. So for now, if you do something like this, you want to set some default. If you don't provide anything there, what happens? Because like when you do a get, you don't really send data. So you set default to these variables here. Just put here the type will be default to get, and then the ID will be default to an empty string, and then the data will be also to empty string. Okay, so if you don't provide anything, these will be sent over to the other to the server. So here will be replaced with the type variable. ID is good, and then down here also will be the type. And notice I'm using, yeah, so type here, and the type is in uppercase. So just make sure you also process change that to a lowercase. Okay, so I think that looks good. And then I need to call this function and the delete right in here. Just say process AJAX. I pass in the type will be, in this case, is the get. The second is the data. We call it the, we don't have any data. And then the third is also nothing. So we just, is that what is right? I can't remember. ID, oh, ID. Yeah, we get ID. Well, we just pass it anyway because you get the ID here, right? Because you might or might get ID, we don't know. We pass ID. And the third is just empty. We don't have any data. Okay, so that's for that part. And then this one can also be replaced. We can use to replace this whole thing here for the delete as well. So here is where that goes right in here, and we just replace this with delete. So you can see our code is much shorter now. Okay, so far so good. If I save it now and just make sure it still works. Let's try one more time. Do a get. It's good. I do a get one. Good. If I do a delete one, delete book number 3, record deleted, and it's gone. If I do a delete all, there you go. So far so good. So that part is done. Now the next part is when we do a, let me do a reset again. I have to do a reset one more time. Oops. When I do a delete from the button, the form, the where is it at? Right here. So when I do a delete, it says prepare delete, and it takes an ID. Okay, and then what does it do? Okay, so I need to process this. So when I write another function, maybe we'll put it right down here at the bottom. Yeah, I'll do processing here. So I'll put here for prepare, since I call it prepare delete. So I'll say function prepare delete. Oh, cool. It takes an ID. And then once I got the ID, what I need to do? Well, based on that ID, all I have to do is basically send that over to the other list, right? So just basically process the AJAX. And this is a delete, so the first thing is the type is going to be a delete. And then the second is the ID, and the third is just empty string. You can leave it blank, or you can just put an empty string there. I believe that's all we need to do. We'll see. And then yeah, delete here. I click on it, I pass in the ID and delete. So let's give it a test and see what happens. Let's go back to my code, get all of it, and everything's here looks good. Let's delete the first book. So here we go. Record deleted, and awesome. So this one you can delete one at a time, right? Okay, and I can still do that as well. If I delete number 1, it's not found. But if I do delete all of it, it's all gone. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so that is how we did it, the delete for both of these options. So I hope this is helpful, and any questions you have, please let me know.